Day 8 of the 22 for 22 challenge. Um, I'm going to tell a story about this is still my tour for the invasion of Iraq in 2003. It was a really impactful moment for me um, as we neared Baghdad uh, and started our column of tracks, which is large armored vehicles that we rode in. As we were running, coming down the main road of a main road in Baghdad, we were told, okay, watch the roofs for sniper fire. You got to watch out for ambushes. At any moment this thing could explode. And as we first started entering the city, there were people hanging out of windows and um, coming onto the street. Some people were just carrying on about their day as if there was nothing that was going on. A lot of cars pulled off to the side of the road and were just looking at us as we drove by. And of course, we're all very high on edge. Um, on these armored vehicles, there's these metal doors that drop, like they close on the top. There's two metal doors that open up, and so you can stand up on the bench and pop your head out. So all the Marines are popping their head out on and weapons out, and we're scanning the rooftops, looking down the alleyways, looking in all the different windows, and really at any point, I mean, someone could have opened up on us, and it was just really a weird environment. There were people of all ages that just started coming out onto the street. More and more people as we were convoying through, and some people were kind of jumping and cheering and clapping, and other people were giving us nasty looks. Some people, I mean, it's just so weird. It was like a parade of really reluctant people. Some people were, it seemed like they were ecstatic and they were throwing us cartons and packs of cigarettes and candy, and things like that. And you got to remember, like, these people were bombarded with airstrikes in Baghdad for a long time before we got there. And I just, I was 19 years old and I'm sitting here thinking, like, what would I think if I was in Omaha and then all of a sudden, like, the Russians or the Chinese or whatever it is, like, our president ran off into hiding and these people were coming down our street. Like, I don't know if they were really celebrating as much as just, okay, we better give them a warm welcome because this is the next show in town. And maybe if we're warm and welcoming, they won't just slaughter us. Um, and you got to keep in mind the environment that they were in for 30 plus years. Saddam Hussein gassed his own people, used chemical attacks on his own people. There were signs everywhere about with like Scud missiles pointing, and then like big Israeli, like the Jewish star, like on fire, because there's always this tension between Saddam and Israel and the right to exist, and everybody had to have a picture of Saddam in their house. If they didn't, they could be arrested. Saddam's birthday is like the national holiday. It's just like really, if you look at some of the stuff that Saddam's sons, Uday and Qusay, did, just nasty, nasty stuff. Just, and these people lived under that for a lot of them their whole lives, so they didn't even know what's coming. But one thing that really stuck out to me is there was this small little hatchback two-door car, and there was a guy that was probably, I don't know, they all have these big broom handle like mustaches, so he could have been 22, but he looked like he was 48. Like, in all likelihood, he was probably late 20s. And he was standing there and he was holding his daughter. He was like, he had just like got open his driver's side car door, was standing half in, half out of the car. The car was just angled weird on the street, just like he just pulled off the side of the road. And he had his 4-year-old daughter in his arms, and the daughter was kind of laying on his shoulder but watching us. And he was sitting there, and I caught this guy's eye, and he caught mine, And it was like I could feel what he was thinking. I could feel his fear. And now being a dad myself, and I tried to put myself in his shoes, and I've never forgotten that. This is 13 years ago. I've never forgotten that, amidst all this, the war of it, that there are people that are just trying to live their lives. They have no control over the conditions with which they were born unto. And they just try and do their best and take care of their family and keep them alive. And then you got to imagine, like, from that point on, like, you could tell he had hope. Like, maybe my daughter will have a chance to have a life and feel some sense of freedom. But maybe this is going to be horrible for us, because now we're going. At least we knew what we had under a dictatorship. Now we don't even know what we're going to have. And America was so unprepared for what we were about to do after, it was like reaching Baghdad, and we're like, oh, now what? Like, what's the plan now? We have to administrate a country. And I've I went back to Iraq in 2004, and it was a mess. Um, and even today, like, you hear news stories and suicide bomber in Baghdad, and I mean, it just, like, who knows if that girl's even still alive, if that guy is even still alive. Um, it just kind of messes with you, because at that point, I mean, I just had that sense of, like, if I was him, I'd probably feel the same way. Everybody just wants to, raise their family and give their kids a chance to exist. And now, obviously, he wasn't going to be able to do that under Saddam, but I'm not sure if we did much better for him. So you go through a lot, you see a lot. I never really questioned the war aspect of it, as tough as that is. You never really questioned that. That's just win or lose, but it's all the mess in between that, I don't know. A lot of people don't worry about that. That's one of the things that's always stuck with me. So there's a story for you. It's something that's been on my mind. Have a good night.